So as Kevin was highlighting, the Arctic SDI allows the national mapping agencies to mobilize resources and expertise towards developing common, trusted, authoritative services. So I'm going to provide you, as Terry said, a highlight of some of the open source client services that are provided from our Geoportal. One of those is a circumpolar gazetteer that's now being developed using data from all of the countries. We don't have all the country data integrated yet, but we're working on it. So when I search for Kenai Fjord, you can see that we're getting results from multiple countries. And when I select a hit, I'm zoomed into the authoritative reference map being provided by that country. And as I select other entries, I'm just zoomed around on the map. So now I'm going to do a search on the Wrangell-St. Elias National Map in Alaska. And we'll then go over to the reference base map being provided by the U.S. And we're going to show you in a second the border between Alaska and Canada, and we're looking at the base map data being provided by those two countries. The Arctic SDI national mapping agencies have agreed on a common cartographic specification now for this base map. So even though there are differences in the map data, because it's being provided by those individual countries, it's very common across the borders. Might have different scales, but it's still the same data. So now I'm going to show you how easy it is to select data, and we're using the ISO 19115 topic categories to provide that data. Or you can do a search and select the data from there. And I'm just going to select a set of data that were used during different story scenarios from the different participants in the pilot. And then we'll configure those a little bit. This is the Pan-Arctic DEM that we were talking about that was produced by the Polar Geospatial Center. The Arctic SDI board has endorsed this as a first-generation product that will be delivered to the Arctic Council at the ministerial in May. And this data is being delivered by Esri. So now that I've selected the data layers that I want, you can see how easy it is to reorder those data layers. I just drag them around. Obviously, I've played with this data a little bit. I can hide layers, and then I can change the opacity of the layers so that I get the visualization that meets my needs or the needs of my customer. And what I'm going to do is create an embedded map out of this data once I get it configured. So now I have the data looking the way I want it to look. I've selected all of the layers. At the bottom of this page, you always have access to the sources of the data layers that you visualize to make it easier to see what it is that you're looking at. I also have access to the map legend data if that data is provided by the data provider. And so now I'm going to create that embedded map. So when I select, and I have to be a logged in user to do this, I'm going to put the name of the website, the domain that I want to serve it from. I'm going to name the embedded map. I select the language, the map size, which layers, and these are interactive again. From this point, I can add additional map layers if I want to for my embedded map. If I want to provide a static map, I won't provide any tools on this embedded map, and I can just have it as part of a web page. But if I want the user to be able to interact with the data, I can actually put tools on here for them. And this is all, as you can see, easily configurable. I can also change the color scheme of the tools that are on the map. And I can make it left-handed or right-handed. And I can change the font and also the look and feel of the tools. When I save that, I'm going to get the code that I will use on the remote website to deliver that web page, that embedded map to customers. What I've done now is I've gone to the Arctic SDI website and I've created a map gallery on that website. It's not on the same physical server. This is a remote system, but we're now interacting with data from the Arctic SDI Geoportal. And users can then turn map layers on and off because I've enabled that in the embedded map, and they can investigate that data further to perhaps, as was said earlier, answer those unanticipated questions or just to further investigate the data. And that's my presentation. And I don't think I have to go into this too much because these things have been covered as we've gone through this. But having stable, reliable, sustainable services in the Arctic is a very important thing. Having authoritative data available from trusted sources. And the Arctic SDI has a goal to curate data for stakeholders in the Arctic as well based on their requirements.
You want to cover the Pan-Arctic DIM?
It's going to be delivered as the first generation product to the Arctic Council at the ministerial meeting in May. And the Arctic SDI board has given an endorsement of that product. And they will have follow-up evaluations of that data to see how they may be able to provide additional services under that for an authoritative Pan-Arctic DEM from the Arctic SDI as well.